Welcome back, my friends, to TFT Hyper Roll with Artark. The build I'm going to show you today is kind of fundamentally evil, infinitely forcible, and involves Infiniteam. Yeah, it all works together. Like, comment, subscribe. There's the graphic. Yeah, I have to do it. Just have to. But let's get into this build, because this one was so much fun to do. And as I mentioned, it is really forcible if you choose to do so. And it's kind of funny because I just had to check the ending of this video as I was looking through doing this voiceover, because I'm looking at this going, wait, this has to be an Animaniacs build, and how did I get from there to where it ends up? And it likely starts here with really nothing great, so I end up going for preparation. But at this point, it feels to me like I'm going to be heading into Animaniacs, because I have a 2-star Sylas, I have a Nasus, and I also have an Alistair, which are all really key components. And I will speed through these next 2 fights because I'll try to explain what was going on. I am rolling trying to find things that will fill this out, because I don't have a 2-star Nasus, I haven't found a Jinx yet, and even though Nasus, Alistair, and Sylas are important components, nothing's filling in. I also have preparation, so the people sitting on the bench right now are gaining power. I've picked up 3 members of the Infiniteam, Pantheon, Sivir, and Lucian, so I can easily switch over to that once they've reached their full preparation time, which is kind of what you want to do with preparation, is kind of have an A team and a B team, and have the A team on the bench gaining power. And by the time we come out of the carousel, which was filled with training dummies, our Infiniteam units are pretty well prepared. Lucian's up at 3, Sivir's up at 3, Pantheon's still at 2, so we're going to hold him out for now, at least until we can get him up to the full preparation. With our more prepared team, we are now in a little bit of a hybrid mode. We have a Sylas, who's just a 2-star, an Alistair, who's a good unit, and then a couple of Infiniteams who are fully prepared, and they're able to at least win us this round. Now, the item I want most of all when I am playing Infiniteams is a spatula, because you can make an Infiniteam emblem with the spatula and the sword. And 7 Infiniteams are absolutely key. Now, let me show you something really quick. It tells you where the 2 portals are going to be. There's going to be one in the front line, one in the back line. It starts with the front line one, but when we get to 5, the second one will be in the back line, so you can plan for that. Now, for me, the most obvious mixes with Infiniteam are either Quickdraw or Sure Shot. Either one will work. Sure Shot has gotten a lot stronger in the newest patch, but Quickdraw equally as valid for a lot of reasons you will see here. And I was originally leaning Sure Shot here because I had a fully prepared Ashe, but Raider Spoils is just too tempting for me. That extra item can change the entire game. Yes, it leaves a lot up to random chance as to which item you get, but they're usually really good. They're not necessarily as good as the items that you get from the portal, because they don't necessarily fit the champion that they're on, but I find them in general a pretty good thing to have. And yes, there is a 2-star Shen just hanging out on the bench, but we want him prepared. The next round is going to be NPC, so through this round and the next round, I'll then be able to get a fully prepared Shen in, so it's worth the 2 health points at this point to allow him to fully prepare. And we now have our fully prepared Shen, and I had put an Infinity emblem on Kai'Sa. I usually like to do that because it's not often you get a misfortune in 6-2, but there she is. Thank you, Gary. Wish you would give me a little warning on that, because then I might have held back on that Infinity emblem. But ultimately, the concept of double misfortune is just, well, it's too tempting, because you can do that, you can put her on the portal, and now you are going to get 2 misfortunes. And the other one will come with the additional 2 items, since she's coming off the portal, and they're going to be 2 good items, as you can see, Rabadon's Death Cap and Jeweled Gauntlet. And unfortunately, Ezreal hands her the Collector, which is about as useless an item as you could get, since she's going to execute them at 15%, but the Collector will execute them at 12%. Well, they ain't going to get there if she's going to execute them at 15%. So yeah, that round was kind of going down anyway. It's time for our final augment, and we're going to go with Portable Forge and see what we get. Nothing amazing, but Eternal Winter can certainly work for a frontline. Notice I had also pulled Misfortune out of the round for that last round, for the NPC round, so she could gain at least another level of preparation. I'll do the next thing at the next NPC round so she can get up to 3. We've brought in a Garen as an additional frontliner. He's fairly strong since he will create Defender along with Shen, and then we're going to load him up with our tank items, Eternal Winter, and a Bramble Vest, which will give him even more armor. Now, Misfortune is already a team clearing maniac, so to speak, and having 2 of her just makes it that much worse because it's ult after ult after ult, and it's very hard for a team to overcome it. And as you will see, Infiniteam is fairly popular. A lot of people are using it, but there are enough 1, 2s, and 3s, so you're likely going to be able to build your Infiniteam. Whether you're going to be able to finish it off does ultimately come down to a lot of the RNG. Now, one thing I like about going quick draw over the sure shots is you can get to the 4 quick draw a lot earlier. Your final sure shot doesn't come to 5. That's the Ezreal. Here, by the way, we're just going to grab the frontline item because, again, the weakest part of the Infiniteam is the front line, and the back line, well, they're pretty well set with just Misfortune. Once we get Ezreal, we'll want to put some damage item on him, but again, for the sure shot, you need to get to Ezreal to complete it. With Quick Draw, you're getting a 1, which is Lucian, a 2, which is Ezreal, a 3, Kaisa, and a 4, Misfortune. So you're completing it much earlier, and then you can move into the 7 Infiniteam, if you've gotten an emblem, a little bit later, and that will help really shore up the team. The plan, of course, is not foolproof. This person was positioned really well, so Misfortune wasn't able to wipe everyone out in one shot, and we end up taking a loss and now have 1 life left. We've gotten an Ezreal, so we're pretty good shape, but the reality is there's a lot of RNG built into this. What items are the champions coming out of the portals going to get? What artifact is going to go on the champion that Ezreal gives it to? I'd love to do this build, usually with a little less RNG involved, but I have trouble passing up on that Ezreal Augment. There is one downside to getting the emblem here, and that is unless you're willing to give up your front line, which means Garen would have to go, you're gonna have to lose one of your quick draws in order to complete the build. We're gonna grab an Ezreal item here because we want to put more damage on him, and then the Spear of Sojin so he'll cast more often. But it's better to reduce yourself to 3 quick draws and go that way than it is to lose that front line, because the front line is the weak part. Misfortune and Ezreal ulting together, that's going to clean house and most likely keep you in the game, so you need to keep things off them. And again, this is a popular build because that's a pretty much the same build. It is a quick draw Infiniteam build. The difference is they are using Lucian as their double champ, we're using Misfortune, and that is what's going to pay off because those crisscross ults just wipe their team out and bring us into the top 4. And in reality, it is top 3 because that's how it all came out. Now, we are against a very difficult team. It's a Supers Riftwalker team with a 3-star Vex, who is positioned in such a way that they are going to hit my Misfortune simply based on her position, and I can't move it because she is going to double up, and that's the only place I can put her that it'll work. So I have to hope that my front line will be strong enough to withstand Vex as long as possible, and that all of the craziness is going to go in my favor. And you can see, luckily, with the Ezreal ult, followed by the dual Misfortune ults, we are able to finish that off and at least survive for another round. And we are right back to a 1v1 against that same team, and we just have to hope we get the right items. Ezreal ends up with a Trinity Force, which is going to be key because his casting is what's going to allow us to knock everyone down so that Misfortune's ults land just as we need them. The Ezreal ults are key, combining the double Misfortunes key, a lot of RNG, but a lot of fun too. hope you enjoyed this video. Give the build a shot. If you can get the Infinity Emblem, put it on Misfortune so you get the double bunnies. And as always, have an absolutely awesome day.